The life of Elias, before everything changed, was a tangle of gray tones and the smell of wet earth. He remembered the dirt floor of their house, the mud walls that seemed to absorb the cold of dawn, and the suffocating heat of midday. He was a boy from a forgotten periphery, where scarcity was not a word in the dictionary, but the palpable reality of every sunrise. More than 60% of children and adolescents in states like his lived in poverty, and he was one of them. They had no basic sanitation, no decent housing, not even the internet he saw in distant advertisements. His vulnerability was not just a lack of money, it was the absence of everything that would make him a full citizen. Health, education, leisure. His grandmother, his grandmother. She was Elias's universe, his safe harbor, the unshakable rock that kept him from crumbling. She raised him. Like so many grandmothers in Brazil who take on the role of caregivers in extended family arrangements, often because parents cannot provide, she was not just the one who fed him. She was the guardian of his dignity, the source of all the affection he knew. Her wisdom came from life, forged in adversity, and her integrity was a beacon. She was Elias's link to his roots, his moral compass. Elias's father? He was an absence, a void that Elias felt but couldn't name. In 2021, more than 167,000 children were registered without their father's name in Brazil, and Elias was one of them. Psychologist Juliana Bogia said that this absence could cause low self-esteem, difficulty in forming bonds, and problems at school. Elias felt this, even without understanding it. It was an invisible wound that accompanied him, a hole in his soul that he tried to fill with his grandmother's strength and with work. Yes, work. Since he was 10, Elias had been juggling school with odd jobs, street vending, collecting recyclable materials, anything that brought a few coins home. Child labor, he would later learn, is a global public health problem that exposes children and adolescents to risks and human rights violations. It steals childhood, affecting physical, intellectual, social, psychological, and moral development. Elias felt the fatigue, the deprivation of leisure, the constant danger. But there was no choice. This grim reality, however, forged him. He developed an innate resilience, a keen observation of the world, a deep gratitude for every small act of kindness. His intelligence, often unrecognized, was a dormant seed, waiting for the moment to blossom. He had a depth of character and practical wisdom that necessity taught him. At 14, Elias's life turned upside down. It was on a hot day, as he was trying to sell some candies at the traffic light, that he appeared, Mr. Armando Villar, a mysterious man with an aura of power Elias had never seen up close. He watched him for a while, and Elias felt a different gaze, not of pity, but of something deeper. The man gave him a card, said a few words that Elias barely understood at the time, and disappeared as quickly as he appeared. His presence, however brief, left an indelible mark on Elias's mind, a glimpse of a world beyond his immediate reality. Months later, the news arrived like thunder in a clear sky. A lawyer, impeccably dressed and with a grave voice, sat at Elias's and his grandmother's makeshift table. His grandmother, with wide eyes, held her grandson's hand. Mr. Armando Villar had passed away, and, to their shock, he had left his vast fortune and a chain of jewelry stores to Elias. He, Elias, the boy from the periphery, was the heir to millions. The initial disbelief gave way to fear of the unknown, faint hope and confusion in the face of a reality so distant from their lives. The burden of fortune, with the need to manage an empire, manifested immediately, irrevocably transforming Elias's present and future. Why him? This question echoed in Elias's mind. The lawyer explained that Mr. Armando Villar had recognized him as a socio-affective child. There was no biological link, but he had developed a deep affection and a sense of responsibility for Elias, recognizing untapped potential. This invisible inheritance was not just money. It was a chance to rewrite his story, to have a father, even if posthumously, and a family name associated with wealth. This gave him the same inheritance rights as a biological child. But it also brought him an identity conflict. Who was he now? Elias from his grandmother or the Villar heir? And the origin of the fortune? There were whispers that not all of Armando Villar's money had been acquired by entirely clean means. This added a complex moral dilemma. how to manage and perhaps cleanse a fortune with dubious origins. At 14, Elias was a minor without the legal capacity to directly manage his assets. Brazilian law, although it guaranteed his rights, required a guardian. His grandmother, naturally, was chosen. Elias saw the fear in her eyes, her reluctance to take on such a gigantic responsibility. But she accepted. She became his guardian, responsible for him and his assets until he turned 18. The management of the assets, however, was complex. The sale or transfer of anything required judicial authorization, and the public prosecutor's office acted as a supervisor, ensuring that everything was done in the minor's best interest. This generated bureaucracy, delays, and Elias began to understand that his financial freedom was, for now, limited. During the initial period, even before an inventory administrator was formally appointed, a provisional administrator, one of the family's lawyers, handled the asset management. Elias observed everything, absorbing every detail of the business world. Elias's transformation was at the heart of everything. He was the Elias of poverty, now in a world of abundance. Wealth was not a magic solution. It triggered a series of internal conflicts. He struggled to reconcile his humble origins and life of deprivation with his new identity as a millionaire heir. He felt like an outsider, questioning the norms and superficialities of this new world, like Bella Baxter in Poor Things, who didn't understand pre-established rules. He strove to maintain his authenticity, his sensitivity, despite the pressures to conform. Guilt haunted him. He had left poverty behind, while many in his community still suffered. The inability to save everyone generated significant emotional weight. His loyalty to his grandmother and his roots was a pillar, but also a source of tension as his world expanded. And purpose? He didn't just want to accumulate money. He sought a greater purpose for his fortune, something that would positively impact the world. Elias was forced to learn quickly. His intelligence and adaptability, forged in adversity, allowed him to quickly absorb knowledge about the market, finance, and business management. He was transforming from a resilient boy into a young leader, capable of making complex decisions. The jewelry store chain, valued at billions of dollars in the Brazilian market, was not just an asset. It was a complex universe. He saw the governance challenges, the changes in top management, the inventory management that could become critical due to accelerated raw material purchases. Security was a constant concern, with the threat of theft and counterfeiting. Protecting the jewels became a metaphor for protecting his new life. Elias saw the opportunity in digitalization. E-commerce and content marketing were essential for growth. He wanted to modernize the brand, boost it with innovative strategies, perhaps targeting a younger audience or exploring new raw materials like titanium and palladium. Jewelry customization also interested him, but there was the dark side of the industry: piracy, smuggling, informality. With his humble origins and strong sense of justice, he wanted to ensure the company operated ethically and transparently. Overcoming these business challenges was not just about business. It was a test of his capabilities and a catalyst for his maturation as a leader and as a person. His grandmother, once only a protector, was now a reluctant but tireless guardian. Her popular wisdom was a crucial counterpoint to the corporate world. She was Elias's link to the past, his moral compass, the voice of reason. The lawyers and administrators who surrounded him were a mix of loyal allies and figures with conflicting interests. He learned to trust, but also to distrust. Elias began to face ethical dilemmas in the jewelry business. The origin of gems, the sustainability of production, fair trade practices. These situations forced him to make difficult decisions, shaping his identity as an ethical leader. He also began to seek more information about Armando Villar and why he chose him. This investigation led him to long-held secrets, perhaps an unexpected connection to his own past. And of course, he wanted to use his fortune for good. He began to support projects in his old community, exploring the challenges of implementing significant changes, bureaucracy, and resistance. It was his way of maintaining a connection to his roots and validating the purpose of his wealth. Elias's journey continues, a river flowing without pauses, with its rapids and calm stretches. He is Elias, the boy who became an heir, and he is learning that true inheritance is not measured in millions, but in the ability to transcend circumstances, to find purpose amidst abundance, and to use influence for the greater good. He is building his own legacy, one that honors the memory of his grandmother and the man who gave him an opportunity. His story is a testament that transformation is possible and that authenticity can thrive even in the most unexpected environments.